The Sugar Fur Babies. So I just did my stationary bicycle in the garage. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. This is my YouTube channel, Tanis Leonhardi. A sugar fur baby was on the railing of the deck looking away from me. And sugar fur babies get their name from, this is a plush version of a sugar fur baby. Sugar fur babies have white fur behind their ears that looks like very refined sugar. So they got sugar for fur. So they're sugar fur babies. And they're a living version of this with the white fur or orange fur. Okay, sugar fur babies. So there was sugar fur baby, and they were like, "It's time for you to return to something you've already talked about for my who and my wedding." And it's the flight plan. So this is something that I brought up different flight plans and different airports on this channel. And this, I'm filming this Sunday, 7 January 2024. And so in 2023, I did actually make it a priority to visit the scenario of me moving to Scotland, or internationally, and Scotland more specifically, for a very fun example and place I have history with ancestrally, and I've traveled there for a heritage travel trip back in July 2019, place I've been before, place I felt like home when I was traveling, that kind of stuff. Heritaging more accurately. And so I was like, once I've been to the 3 kind of airports that are an option for as fast as possible, like me departing and moving into the new home, there's 3 airports that are kind of an option. And so how do we weigh the options? And so that came up kind of last year, 2023. I was like, well, for starters, if I have time, I should actually go to all 3 airports. So the last airport on the list, so there was an order of going to and checking in on Yelp, if nothing else, was since I've moved back to here in Washington State in October, November 2019. So mid-November 2019, more recent, went to SeaTac International Airport, which is in Seattle, Tacoma. Kind of more Tacoma than Seattle. It's not actually like in Seattle or Tacoma, it's in SeaTac, kind of thing. And then Painfield in Everett, which is that way. So SeaTac is that way, Everett is that way. And then the third one, which I went to, I think it was 25 October 2023, so actually pretty recent. Bellingham International Airport, and that's that way as well, same as Everett, north of this, which is city of Shoreline, King County, Washington State, United States of America, Planet Earth, the original. And so I was like, okay, October 25, I'm like, I finally have made it to each of the airports. And then I was like, there was Chad Leclos is a semi-confirmation, and then Dominik Szoboszlai is a semi-confirmation, and then a really strong confirmation on my Dominik Szoboszlai being my who, or looking like my who, was a confirmation on looking like my who for the my who and my wedding. So I was like, okay. And that was like mid-November 2023. So, think of 25 October 2023, last check mark ticked for the airport options. Then 3 to 4 weeks later, maybe 21 to 22 days, so a little under a month, which it was under a month later, very strong. It's looking like my Dominik Szoboszlai. So, and then about a month after that, a little over a month after that, I'm going to do like 5 weeks plus a little more, but approximately 5 weeks, on 26 December 2023, I published a video, and I'll link to that one in the video description, of me talking through the potential flight plan, the flight plan it's looking like, that takes into account both his and my preferences. His being my Dominik Szoboszlai, and my being me, Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. And so goes Bellingham International Airport in Bellingham, Washington State, United States of America, to Detroit, Michigan, United States of America, to London, England, Great Britain, United Kingdom, to Aberdeen, Scotland, Great Britain, United Kingdom. Okay. For us moving to Aberdeen, Scotland, Great Britain, United Kingdom. Okay. And so, but I was like, I've said that. Maybe I should elaborate on what that choice is. So, especially in light of that, I said I want as fast as possible. And so for those who aren't familiar with the area or the airports, like maybe breaking down how that actually that airport choice for departure aligns with it as fast as possible. So as fast as possible, SeaTac kind of gets ruled out because the drive that far from these parts can be like 45 minutes to like 4 hours, depending on city traffic and highway traffic. Okay, so as fast as possible, if we're thinking like anytime, drop of the hat, just on the drive alone, perhaps not. 1, 2, okay, as fast as possible for the flight means private, because then if we do need to land and lay over, it's just taxiing, right? There's no passengers getting on and off the plane like a commercial flight. So private instead of public. Okay, so it's a private flight plan in that sense, like private jet. And those are the 3 airports options because they're big enough to handle jets that can take us on that flight plan. And there are other airports in the state, in the Puget Sound area, however, not necessarily large enough for the airplane we need to get to the destination. Okay, so those are the 3. And and then in addition, SeaTac is a very, 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 very busy airport, especially for these parts. So getting in the airport plane is nice, but it's a shared runway. And since there's a bunch of people, I have actually had flights where I'll sit in line for the runway to take off, like in the airport, not in the airport, sorry, on the airplane, be in the airplane with those passengers, and it'll take 45 minutes because the line of airplanes is so long. Okay, so it's kind of ixnayed on traffic and ixnayed on just still got to share the runway. Okay, some basic airport dynamics. Okay, so then that leaves the 2 north of the house. Well, Painfield has become so busy, and it's been renamed, or not renamed, but some people kind of like to joke around and call it Seattle because the traffic's so bad. I'm like, well, if the traffic's so bad, then that means, and on par with SeaTac, that means potentially up to a 4-hour drive. All right, there's highway and city traffic. If we're being honest about that, right? If the people are not lying, and when they call it Seattle, Painfield, or whatever they call it, if they're not lying, then that means it could be up to a 4-hour commute, which, well, that option gets removed based on city traffic then. Because Bellingham, uniquely, has, the airport is not, it's a little bit outside of the city of Bellingham, and it is a city, so it's not like city, but it's like, the airport can be, speaking from experience, accessed without going through city traffic. So it's just highway traffic. So if we're going for fastest commute at the drop of a hat, taking into account city and highway traffic, that leaves Bellingham as the number 1 option. Okay, and which is nice because it's also his and my, each apart and together, preference. So it wins on traffic. Okay. So then that leaves takeoff. It's okay, so then Bellingham is 1 point ahead. Can we make it 2 point ahead? Well, they're both smaller airports than SeaTac. Painfield is a little busier, which might mean longer wait times on the runway. So there's a slight edge to Bellingham in that case, but not necessarily a huge edge. So it's like 1.5. Can we make it 2.5? Yes. When Painfield opened, which opened in my lifetime, it was heavily marketed in cahoots with Alaska Airlines and Russell Wilson, the American football player. And SeaTac, I have flown a lot of Alaska Airlines through, which, again, has had a lot of heavy marketing with Russell Wilson, an American football player. My Dominik Szoboszlai is a Hungarian football player, and Hungarian football is also known as soccer. American football is played with one's hands, not one's feet, by like all the players on the field kind of thing. They're different sports, is what I'm trying to say. So if we wanted like a super clean flight plan, Everett gets big red X, no, and SeaTac gets big red X, no. It leaves only Bellingham because Bellingham International Airport, I have not ever flown Alaska Airlines through. We would be flying a private jet, and in terms of my own life story and his life story, it is a pristine, perfect, pure, clean memory trace because there is no collision with Alaska Airlines. And if none other than me making this video to protect that flight plan, I'd be like, there's no potential, there's no, to refer back to my reading notes on the book, A Short Guide to Reputation Risk by Gary Honey. What was it, 2009, and then copyright in 2016, Routledge edition. There's something called, and I even brought it up in my notes video, contamination risk. We don't want contamination risk for our for our wedding and my and his first time getting married to each other, right? Kind of the airport that matches the pristineness of the wedding in that sense. So, yeah. And then my on the airplane video, like to moving, would not be included in my Who in My Wedding playlist because we do not plan to lose our virginity that way on the airplane. So that might just be in the moving playlist and not my Who in My Wedding playlist here on YouTube. Okay. So that's why is it's a no-brainer if I present it in terms of the no contamination with American footballers per my own life story. Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. It's kind of Bellingham. And only Bellingham, but we can add in the traffic. And I think there's people who like to say that the traffic in Everett is on par with the traffic in Seattle, might be in the over-exaggeration prone type. So I think 4 hours would be a bit excessive, but I could be wrong. So we're taking that exaggerated perspective into account and being like, okay, well then even on traffic, it would be just Bellingham because it's just highway traffic. So that's the reiterating what the flight plan, tentative potential flight plan is for my Who in My Wedding with Dominik Szoboszlai, my Dominik Szoboszlai as the Who, and the rationale behind it. Happy day and time of viewing whenever you're viewing this, and happy place of viewing this wherever you're viewing this from.